Welcome back to the pregame show. The RoughRiders opening a homestand with the San Antonio Missions, and I'm joined here by Jimmy Reyes, a relief pitcher for the RoughRiders. Jimmy, you guys come back home. Lots of changes today on the roster, 5 new players. I'm sure it's always hard losing teammates, and the time of transition is sort of weird for you, but you did play with a number of these guys last year, the pitchers, Luke Jackson, John Edwards, Francisco Mendoza, 3 of the guys that are coming up from Myrtle Beach that you played with on the team a year ago. What do you feel in a time like this with all the transition?
We lost a lot of good guys. We lost guys that everyone was close with, but at the same time, Luke, and all those other guys you mentioned, they're coming up. It's an exciting time for them, and I'm friends with all of them. So, I want to make it as enjoyable as a time as they can make it, and kind of help them out as much as I can. Obviously, Kevin Posadas was my roommate, and so was Nick McBride, and it's tough to lose them, but. I know that they're great players, and they're going to be back here. They'll be back, they'll be at a higher level at some point in their career. So,
and this is sort of par for the course. You guys have to deal with this every year, no matter what level you're at. How do you stay in touch with the guys that you are close with, that you want to be? Is it Facebook, text, Twitter? What's kind of the normal mode of communication usually for a lot of these guys? Do you ever talk to them? I know you guys are playing at the same time, so maybe you get a chance to do that as well.
Oh yeah, we're talking. We're keeping in touch. I think. Kevin and I are planning a hunting trip this off season, so he's going to take me out hunting. And but we try to keep in touch again through Twitter and all that stuff, and we're friendly with each other. And again, every guy that's in here, you're instantly friends. You instantly have that connection. You guys are going through the same exact thing, and you're interested in the same exact stuff. So every guy in there, on some level, is a good friend with everybody else in there. So we keep in touch.
Here with Jimmy Reyes, Luke Jackson, one of the guys in particular, is a pitcher that really should be a big boost to this staff, one of the biggest prospects in the Rangers system. What have you noticed about his game?
I've played with Luke the last 2 years now, and Luke's a really good friend of mine. And I've just noticed he's matured every single year that he's played. He's matured. He wants to get better. He wants to learn. And a guy with his potential and his ability, it's easy for him to just think that he knows it all. It's easy for him to just go out there and not really learn and have to be forced to make changes, by getting hit. And I think he's kind of been ahead of the game and really made changes and matured, and he wants to learn. He wants to get better. So I think that's really what's made him as good as he is now.
Has he reached out to you today and asked for any advice here in your first couple days in the Frisco area with this team in AA, et cetera?
Well, he asked me where he could get an air mattress because he's moving into my apartment. So. Yeah, he'll be moving in with me, so he was asking, where can I get an air mattress and all that stuff. So I'm going to take him after the game, and we'll get him settled in.
Now, John Edwards was here last year, but just for one game at the AA level. This is the first trip for Jackson and for Mendoza. Do you, as the bullpen guys, because Jackson will likely be in the rotation, but the other 2 guys are relievers, the bullpen guys, do you have any initiation rituals, any sort of rookie things that you do for the newest members of the bullpen?
Well, Kyle McClellan started a little dance circle. If you're the new guy during stretch, you got to get out in the middle and show off a dance move and tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Most of us know each other, but there's some guys who don't really know a whole lot about each other. It kind of helps break the ice.
Anything happened today that's family friendly you can share with us?
Oh, just some good dance moves. I think John Edwards was doing the Texas two-step a little bit. We had Luke doing some booty dancing, so it was fun.
And it's been for you personally, Jimmy, I'm sure it's been a little bit up and down emotionally. I know that you've had stretches of great success this year and some tougher times as anybody does. Now that you're mostly through your first season at AA, how do you assess where you are? I always find it interesting to talk to guys that are relievers, because there are times where you have to go out and pitch a lot, and then you might not pitch for 4 or 5 days. How challenging has it been to adjust to such a big jump? They say AA is so difficult when you are a guy that you never really get a true routine.
Well, like you said, I've been up and down this year, and I think the biggest key is finding consistency. I've been really good at times, and it's just a matter of taking those times and staying with it, throughout the whole season. And I think I've definitely learned a whole lot. I've definitely learned a lot more just about pitching in general. And I think that's going to help me, further along in my career. So, just finding consistency, and you always got to be prepared. If you're in the bullpen, you may throw on no days rest, you may have 5 days rest. So you prepare every single day like you're going to throw. You prepare every single day the same way. That way, you're never surprised if you have to pitch. You're never caught off guard. And that's pretty much what we have to do as a staff in the bullpen, just to be ready to pitch.
They say this is a game of adjustments, and certainly every level is an adjustment, but even within a season, we've seen guys do a better job of adjusting after the other teams adjusted them the first time around. What has that chess match been like for you this year?
You know, I think at times I've overanalyzed situations. I've given hitters a little too much credit, and I've tried to really outthink and outsmart hitters. And I think I got to get back to just being basic with it. You know, just using my strengths and just attacking them. And you know, I think at times I've done that, and then at times I've gone back and tried to trick guys out of, to get them out. And I think I just need to go back to what I do best, is just attack hitters.
It's interesting you bring that up, because you're one of those guys that when you go out there on the mound, you really see a razor-sharp focus from an outside perspective. It looks like you're very focused on the mound. Is that something that's a real conscious effort for you, or are you trying to go out there and have that kind of razor-sharp focus where you're locked in, zoned in on what's going on, and not letting the rest of the world kind of get into your picture?
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a conscious effort. You definitely want to be focused on executing the pitch. You analyze the situation, you decide what pitch you're going to throw, and ultimately you just have to execute the pitch. And any other thought that gets in the way of that is not good. You need to be, as focused as you can. And regardless of the result, once the ball leaves your hand, you don't control what happens. So, just knowing that you got to control what you can control and be completely focused on that is what you really need to do to be successful. If you're giving up hits and you're thinking about the hits that you gave up or the errors that were made, you're not going to be able to continue to execute pitches. It
makes you a pretty intimidating figure on the mound, which, considering you're not a prototypical pitcher size, you're not a huge guy, certainly speaks volumes. Another thing that adds to that intimidation factor when I watch you pitch is the fact that as a batter, I'm sure it's challenging because it's hard to see the ball coming out of your hand. You close yourself off when you come set, feet pointed towards the opposing dugout when you're pitching here at home. When did you start coming set like that? Is that something that's developed over time? Where did you pick that up? And how much do you tweak with that? You watch film at all to get a sense of when the hitters are seeing the ball come out of your hand? Because it certainly helps, I think, in your effectiveness.
I can't remember exactly when I started doing that. I think in college I tinkered with my mechanics quite a bit, and it led to me throwing a lot harder than I did when I was in high school. I think it's just kind of something that just developed naturally over time, and I think I just felt comfortable in that position and doing that little dip that I do when I raise my leg, and it makes me deceptive, and I'm glad for that. But I really just try and just repeat the same delivery over and over again, and you watch film and you can kind of look around and see, okay, this is where I need to improve. This is where I'm not as consistent in my delivery, but at the same time, you don't want to think too much about it. You want to just be focused on throwing that pitch right where you want to throw it and nothing else.
Well, thanks a lot for your time. Good luck. Welcome back here at home, at least for a brief 4 days, and good luck the rest of the season here for you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
That was Jimmy Reyes. We'll be back after this on the Frisco RoughRiders Baseball Network.